Hi friends, Carla here with Owen Chocolate. Today I have an interesting bar company group of people to share with you. A friend sent me one of these bars a while back and it was interesting, so I reached out to the person who was making them and he sent me some more. So I'm excited to taste these with you today. This is from Owen Camille Chocolate, and you may have heard of the makers before. They're kind of semi well known in the craft chocolate industry, Brady and Andrea Brelinski. So this is a new company, but how are they so well known in the craft chocolate world? Well, the reason is because Brady is one of the original founders of the Manhattan Chocolate Society, which started in 2007. It has a very limited membership, like 6 people, and 5. It has changed over time. Since 2007, so next year they'll have been doing it for 20 years. And he and his wife, Andrea, they maintain a website called Flavors of Cacao, which you may have come across before. It's a great website. If you are at all interested in craft chocolate and have not seen this website yet, I highly recommend that you go to this website. It's called flavorsofcacao.com because Brady and Andrea have been documenting everything that they've been doing since 2007 with craft chocolate. So it's a very valuable data set for a lot of people. And doing this for so long, I mean, 2007, 2006, there was like 5 makers in all of the US, maybe? Like who? Scharfenberger, Rogue, Patrick, DeVries, who else am I forgetting? Amano. I'm probably forgetting one, but then you have like makers like Prolo, Valrhona. There was so few makers at the time. The barrier to entry was so high. So they've been doing this for almost 20 years. Now, the Manhattan Chocolate Society is separate from, and the Flavors of Cacao is separate from the chocolate making adventure that they are doing as a family. So this is a Brelinski family adventure, whereas Manhattan Chocolate Society is something completely different. So let me tell you a little bit about them. So Brady, his day job is in healthcare. So he is an RN. He has a master's in nursing and an MBA. He works in a healthcare company. At one point in time, he wanted to be a professional skateboarder. Both Andrea and Brady, are from Michigan, and they set out to travel the world, and they got to New York and settled down. But Andrea had a great job for a while where she was working in a museum and she got to travel all over the world with that job. They have 2 kids, and that is where the name of their company comes from. It's named after their children. So let me think, what else do I want to tell you about this? So it's interesting to have been tasting and interested in craft chocolate for so long and then turn around and actually become a chocolate maker. They're not formally trained in chocolate, but obviously they've been meeting with makers, going to all these things, learning about the process and where flavors come from for 20 years. One of the founding members of the Manhattan Chocolate Society is also involved with the International Chocolate Award. She's on the grand jury. So there's a lot of exposure learning that has come into making this chocolate. So they first started making the chocolate in 2018, not for sale, just as a family adventure. It wasn't until 2025, with the encouragement of the owner of the cocoa store in New York City, that they decided to sell their chocolate commercially. It's still listed on the cocoa store. Last time I checked, they were sold out. That's one of their, ethos, that they don't feel any pressure to meet volume demands or to produce. They produce when they want to produce what they want to produce, basically. So they're purposefully keeping the company small. They are producing bars that they enjoy the flavor of. They're producing the chocolate that they want to make. And yeah, it's very interesting. I would highly encourage you again to visit the Flavors of Cacao website. A lot of experience in tasting, a lot of notes that you may find valuable if you're interested in chocolate tasting. What I want to do today is I am going to taste, so he has sent me, so the one that my friend sent me was Three Mountains from Ghana, but then Brady sent me Animalia from India and Madagascar. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll talk a little bit about the packaging, which is something else he has on the Flavors of Cacao website. He's got this whole packaging breakdown, analysis, thought kind of process about the things you have to think of when you're making packaging, when you're looking at packaging. It's a lot of good information. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll take a look at the chocolate and we'll taste some chocolate together. So let's do that. So one of the things that I asked Brady was, how did he get into chocolate? And it was when he went to a chocolate tasting with one of the other people with Alexandra from the Manhattan Chocolate Society. And she gave him 6 Pralu bars, all 75%. He was expecting them all to taste the same, and it didn't. And it kind of like completely opened up chocolate to him that he had not experienced that way before, and it sparked a lot of curiosity. So as he has been creating his own brand, as him and Andrea have been creating it, and the family, they've all been working it on together, he's been very deliberate and careful about the choices that they have been making. So packaging, if you go and read the Flavors of Cacao website, you can see that he realizes the importance of packaging itself. And so he has been deliberate to think about the packaging before he commits to something, excuse me, before they commit to something like really branded. So it's purposefully at this point very minimalist, very simple, straightforward, no big design statement. And that's basically caution on his part and the stage of chocolate making that they're in, being relatively new to commercial chocolate making, that they don't want to have to make multiple changes in branding and cause brand confusion early on. So we've got this minimalist packaging, nothing on the back, just everything's straight out in the front. You've got the name, you've got limited edition. Yes, he is the definition. They are the definition of small batch makers, indicating the origin, the harvest even, family made by the Brelinski family in Manhattan. This one has 3 ingredients. They've added a little cocoa butter to this one. This one over here has 2 ingredients. So very simple chocolate that allows the flavors of the cacao to shine. So I might open both of them. So let me grab a pair of scissors. We will open them up. And we will take a look at what we have inside. So inside, we've got 2 bars, 2 individually wrapped bars. Nice. One for you, one to share with somebody else. One of the things that I really like, I love a beautiful mold. I love a beautiful mold. When a mold looks beautiful, fantastic, great, love it. But you know what else I love? I love being able to break chocolate into nice pieces, especially when I'm doing tastings. How nice is it to just break this in half and share it in a tasting? It's kind of these two things that are both amazing, but you kind of, sometimes if you have one, you can't have the other. So I'm sure, depending on how far they want to take this adventure in chocolate making, it's not inexpensive to be a chocolate maker for sure, but they've certainly not invested in custom molds at this point. So we've got the 70% here. Looks nice, beautiful shine to it, nicely tempered. I like when bars have a pattern on the top, and also it allows you to hide some flaws sometimes. Not that I see any flaws on this bar, but just something to think about if you're a maker. Nice snap. It does have a snap, a little bit softer snap than I would expect. And that's because in this one they have added the cocoa butter. So yes, it is the snap that I would expect with cocoa butter added. So good, looks nicely and tempered, nicely made bar. What I'm gonna do is I am just going to warm it up a little bit with my thumb, release some of those volatile compounds, see what I get smell, and give it a taste. Okay, so this has been interesting. This is exactly what I expect from this origin. So the aroma is slightly like nutty, peanutty. When you warm it up, when you taste it, initially the nuttiness comes through, and then slowly there's a fruity raspberry note that builds to accompany the nuttiness. Very lovely mouthfeel in this one, very creamy, very smooth, almost like a creamy flavor. It's so smooth. Yeah, really nice, exactly what I expect from that origin. Now, while I was tasting that, I also opened the other one, which also had the 2 little bars inside. So I also opened the Madagascar 70%, but I want you to take a look at this. Look at the color difference between these 2 bars. Both 70%, both dark chocolate. I'm hoping that color difference is coming across. One almost looks like reddy, like a milk almost. So this is the Animalia, this is the Madagascar. So very different color in the bar, even though they're both 70%. Madagascar bar, also very nice, very well done, clearly in temper. Listen to this snap. Good snap, exactly what you expect. This is also exactly what I expect from a Madagascar bean. So it's got a little bit of a musty note in the aroma, but the flavor is bright, fruitiness, a raspberry similar to this one, but this one has more of a acidic citrus lemon taste in there as well. So yes, they are their origins. They've done a nice job highlighting the origin flavors here. I know it's tricky because you've been tasting all of these bars for like 20 years. So you're very familiar, and knowing what tastes good and being able to actually make that yourself from scratch are 2 very, very different skills. So they've done a really nice job. No off notes here, nothing unexpected, nothing weird. Just really highlighting the origins of these 2 bars. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to show you one more thing that he sent me because it's, I don't know, it's just super interesting to me. So I'll flip the camera around. So tasted these 2 bars. Lovely, lovely bars that display origin terroir flavors very, very nicely. Done a great job. So being a chocolate maker is definitely a skill, and it's a different skill than being a chocolate taster. And it's one that you have to learn, and they've spent time learning this. Now, one of the things that they told me that they were very proud of the fact that this was a family venture. So Owen Camille being separate from the Manhattan Chocolate Society, this is something that they wanted to, one of their goals was to be able to do it as a family, together as a family, and have it be a family thing. Well, when they first started, he told me they didn't have a winnower. And if you're a chocolate maker, you know that once you roast the beans, you have to remove the husk. And if you don't have a winnower, this is often done by hand. And so, hey kids, fun time, let's winnow some beans. Well, they learned pretty quickly that winnowing beans with kids is not exactly the fun time that you think it is. So he sent me this picture they have of their winnowing station. Cool, looks amazing, looks like a winnowing station. It looks exactly like what a winnowing station should look like. But here's the thing that caught my eye, because I'm crazy like that. Look at this. Look at behind. I want to know what's going on behind here. What is this crazy level of organization that he has going on behind this winnowing station? And I can't I can't zoom in to take a peek at what he's doing. So Brady, when I come to New York, I want to know what all of this is about. So yeah, they've got a winnowing station now. Their kids are not winnowing cacao by hand anymore. So hopefully the kids and the rest of the family are all enjoying it together as a family venture, as it was meant to be. What else do I have to tell you about Owen Camille Chocolate? I think that's it. I really cannot stress enough how much cool information, valuable information there is on their Flavors of Cacao website. If you have not ventured onto that website recently and clicked on every possible tab that you can, I would highly recommend it. If you're watching this, it's going to be interesting to you. So if you've made it this far, I recommend heading right over to Flavors of Cacao after this. That's Owen Camille. I look forward to seeing where this adventure takes them, whether they decide to keep very small, very local, if they decide to expand, if they change their project packaging. We'll see where it goes from here. They're at relatively the beginning of their adventure, and it's exciting to see where it goes. So that's Owen Camille Chocolate for this week. Hope you learned something, and that's it. If you have any questions, comments, let me know below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when we talk all things chocolate. See you then. Thanks for watching.